So what is more important? Your mids, your highs, or your lows? In this video, I'm going to tell you guys what speaker is the most important. But first, we're going to start with the general two-way component system. You have your mids and your highs, your tweeter and your mid-range. Most people run tweeter mid-range combo and they add a sub. Some people don't upgrade their door speakers, they just add a sub. In my opinion, adding a subwoofer first will make the most noticeable difference to your sound system. Why? Because you can feel those lows, you feel the bass, and that's not something you get to experience every day. But when you already got your subwoofer and now you're upgrading your mids and highs, where should you spend the most coin? On the tweeter or the mid? So in a two-way system, I highly recommend that you put more money into your mids because they're going to play a larger range of sound. And your tweeters also provide a lot of detail, but in a two-way system, you want to spend more money on the mids. However, once you upgrade and go into the three-way system, three-way component system, where this is now the mid bass, these are only playing mid-range frequencies, and now your tweeters are able to shine because your mid no longer has to force itself to play low and high. All that pressure, all that stress is now saved for mid bass. And these 3-inch mids take over the frequency that is pretty much used most in music when it comes to vocals. These mids are going to take care of all of that. So you don't stress out your mid bass. Your vocals are now solely produced by the mid range, and your tweeters are going to play those extremely high frequencies. So in a two-way system, spend the money on your mid. But in a three-way system, the most important speaker is the tweeter. And here is how I'm going to tell you why. So the human audible spectrum is literally 20 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz. So I broke it down into a few bands right here. The subwoofer is generally going to play, if you have a really good sub, between 20 and 60 hertz. This is the sub bass. These are deep frequencies, low frequencies, and you can feel these frequencies. Now, the 60 to 250 frequency range, this is going to give you that, I guess, just bass. Sub bass is very low. Bass is that tight, clean mid bass, crisp, warm, clean. It fills your cabin. It sounds good, right? Now, going into the mid frequencies, the mid-range speaker, that is what gives you the presence, prominence, and that's where the human voice and the vocals are mostly reproduced in this frequency range here. So it's very important as well, because in music, you're generally listening to most of this range here. Now, going into the 2,000 kilohertz to 4,000 kilohertz, which is the upper mid-range, that's where the high-pitched vocals come into play, percussive instruments. This is also where your speaker, your mid-range, begins to reach its highest performance point, so it begins to stress. Now, this is why a three-way system will always be superior to a two-way, because your tweeter, especially a high-end tweeter, is going to pick up anywhere between 4,000 kilohertz and up, or 2,000 kilohertz and up. And what does the tweeter provide in your audio system? Presence. This is where you get that crystal clear definition. Also, too bright can be a bad thing, but bright is when it's mediated, it gives you that transparency in your system, in your vocals, and your instruments. However, again, with it being too bright, this is what causes that fatigue. This is what makes your ears bleed, too much of this. So 4,000 to 6,000, that's where you got to start being really careful on how you're tuning your highs. Now 6,000 kilohertz to 20,000 kilohertz, it's the absolute highest frequency ranges that your music is going to play, and that is what produces what's called brilliance, which is defined as having sparkle or the air of the music. Proper brilliance gives you that high fidelity, the hi-fi sound. This is what takes your system to the next level with good sound quality. So this is why, in my opinion, the tweeter is the most important speaker in a three-way system, because it literally plays. So the Milli Legend tweeter that I have here, it plays down from 900 hertz all the way down to 900 hertz, all the way up to 28,000 hertz, which, if the audible spectrum is only 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, is 28 kilohertz even necessary? Is it pointless? Well, no, and I'm going to tell you why. A tweeter that is capable of playing over 20,000 kilohertz, you may not hear that sound in the music. However, you are going to get extreme high resolution and that high frequency tweeter range. Again, that's what gives you brilliance. So the Milli Legend is such a phenomenal tweeter because of its performance. It can go as high as 28 kilohertz. That's higher than ribbon tweeters or super tweeters. It really is one of the best soft dome tweeters that you can get for a car audio system. Also, expensive tweeters generally can play low. You're not going to be wanting to play this low. You're going to cross it over probably at double, right? But again, the fact that it can play low and can play really high, it's going to give you extreme resolution and the frequencies that it is hitting. Okay, so these are the Milli Pros, MPK 165.3, 6.5 mid bass. These are the 3-inch Milli Pro MP 70.3, and these are the Milli Legend tweeters ML280 to 3. Of course, JL Audio W7, the 8-inch anniversary edition subwoofer. Again, another phenomenal product because it can play really low, and it can also, if needed, hit some of these mid-bass frequencies. But when you have a proper system with instruments or gear that can play its assigned frequency band, you're going to hit every audible frequency in music, which is going to give you a lot better reproduction of sound. Granted, the appropriate box, the proper installation, proper tune, DSP, amplifiers, those are all going to have an effect on your overall sound, on your install. But one more thing, I found that 1 hertz to 20 hertz is infrasonic. So you literally can't hear it. You could just feel this. Granted, you need a lot of power to play these frequencies. But a cat, when it purrs, guess what frequencies it's playing? A cat is gonna play subwoofer bass frequencies. So when they purr, you can feel that shit, you can hear it. Only cats and elephants are animals that can reproduce those frequencies. And 20,000 kilohertz and above is ultrasonic. Humans cannot hear this, but bats reproduce this and they can hear this with ease. I legit think they can play up to like 100,000 hertz, which is insane. But anyways, this is just some knowledge that I wanted to share. If anybody has any input, please leave it down in the comments. Again, two-way system, spend more money on the mid-range. A three-way system, the tweeters are worth going above and beyond, especially in a hi-fi system. Just going to give you that crystal clear sound, that high fidelity. All right, and get a good subwoofer that can play low. All right, this is my system. This is me kind of explaining the reasoning as to why I went with these speakers. And again, I hope this is helpful, but hopefully it's not too confusing or too long either. I'm no professional. I'm just car audio enthusiast.